Hey y'all, what is up? This is Rosie, and I'm gonna talk about something I never quite talked about on this channel, and that is Southern Gothic country songs. Now, I am a rock chick to my heart, and I love like 60s, 70s, and 80s soul music, but I'm not really a huge country fan, but I am a fan of Dolly Parton, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, but one form of country that I can't exactly resist is Southern Gothic. I don't know what got me into that form. I don't know what got me into that genre. Maybe it was the storytelling. I don't know. The first Southern Gothic country song I really remember that caught me was The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia by Vicki. And then I heard Reba McEntire's version. Really, I saw the video, and the video caught me more than the song did, because the video just plays out this whole scenario, an old lady talking to a reporter about that night. And if you know the subject line of the story, then you know how it ends. But if you don't, I'm not gonna give it away here, but the video was very dark, it was creepy, and it was chilling, it was haunting, as it was supposed to be. And Reba McEntire is a phenomenal actress, and I just absolutely loved it. So that was the first Southern Gothic country song that caught me, and then over the years I would hear other storytelling songs such as that and just sit and listen to the lyrics, because I'm a poet, so lyrics are very important to me. And the second Southern Gothic country song I think that got me was Ode to Billie Joe by Gentry. Gentry was a country singer in the late 1960s, and she made this song Ode to Billie Joe. And what caught people about this song was the line that Billie Joe and the girl who looked like the storyteller in the song were throwing something over the Tallahatchie Bridge into the water, and nobody knew what was thrown into the bridge because she didn't say what it was, so nobody could tell really what was being thrown over that bridge. Now, it's an ode to Billie Joe because he himself jumped over the bridge and into the water, and he didn't make it. So the storytelling of the song is really compelling. And the mom calls in her family from the fields. It's I guess a white family, I don't know, but they're coming in from the fields. The girl, she's picking cotton, and the dad's plowing, and they're all just working really hard out there. And they come in and they have to wipe their feet, and it's dinner time, and they're having black-eyed peas and biscuits. And the mom tells them over dinner that Billie Joe jumped over the Tallahatchie Bridge. And the girl, she loses her appetite. And I guess what you get from the song is that she was in love with him. Maybe they were in love with each other. And everybody's just kind of casually talking about it. And Gentry herself said the song isn't about what was thrown over the Tallahatchie Bridge. The song was about unconscious cruelty. It's how they're very apathetic. They don't really care about the fact that this boy did this to himself. And they just, it's just like, it's as if, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, but it's just like a non-issue with the rest of the family, except for maybe the son who was friends with Billie Joe. and the girl who is unnamed in the song, as I said, I guess she was in love with him. So none of them noticed her grief. None of them noticed how hurt she was. The only thing that the mom noticed was that she wasn't eating. She spent all day in the kitchen cooking that dinner for her family, and this girl hasn't touched a single bite. And really, you can kind of feel that apathy because it's just so palpable in the song. You know, the dad's like, Billie Joe ain't never had a lick of sense. Pass the biscuits, please. Sorry for the flub there. But he ain't never had a lick of sense. He's crazy. Give me them biscuits. And, you know, the son, he asked for another slice of pie. But the girl, again, hasn't touched a single bite. And then as the song goes on, you find out there was a virus going around. Her papa caught it and he died last spring. And mama doesn't want to do a single thing, but she has her own unconscious cruelty. She doesn't stay home to comfort her mom. She goes to the Tallahatchie Bridge every day and she drops flowers into the muddy waters off the Tallahatchie Bridge. Of course the son isn't there because he got married and they opened a store somewhere else in Mississippi, I think in Tupelo. And so that song, the storytelling is so gripping that a movie was actually made from the song. And I think it came out in 1976. This song came out in 67. The movie came out in 76. So I never got to watch it. It was a TV movie. It was a television movie. And so I never got to see it, but I wouldn't have minded if I did get to see it. Another song by Bobby Gentry that I actually heard from Reba McEntire, again with Reba, was called Fancy. Usually Southern Gothic songs are songs with, of course, a dark storyline, and there's no happy ending. With Fancy, this is a different story. There's a happy ending, but there's still a dark storyline. You see, Fancy was this 18-year-old girl who came from a very poor family in very poor and dire situations. She goes into the house when her mom calls her in. Her mom does her hair, puts her on some makeup. Every dime that the mama had, she bought Fancy, and that's the girl's name is Fancy. She bought Fancy a dancing dress. I think it was a velvet dancing dress, or either it was trimmed in velvet. And it had a split clean up to her hip, as the song says. And the mom reveals to her that your dad's run off. I'm real sick, and the baby's gonna starve to death because they have a new baby. So, Fancy's real sad, and she's like, well, Mama, what can I do? And so her mom just tells her flat out, just be nice to the gentleman, Fancy, they'll be nice to you. And it's just saying the lyrics, it gives me chills. Even up in my scalp, I feel these chills. So basically, her mom turned her out, and she's like, if you do this, I'm going to get you a house in the hills. I'm going to get you in much better situations. You're going to become a rich woman if you do this the right way. So Fancy leaves, and she never came back because her mama died and the baby was taken by the welfare people. So she charmed a king, a congressman, and the occasional aristocrat. And so, yeah, she's got her Georgia mansion and a New York townhouse flat. And I'm just basically just giving you the lyrics because that's how the song turned out. And again, with Reba McEntire's impeccable acting, she did a video for the song, and instead of being this high-price you know, she's an actress, a very famous actress, probably a singer, and she goes back to the shack where she grew up. And of course her mom's buried there. There's another gravestone there, I think. And she goes to visit, and she finds the locket that her mom gave her that she threw off in anger because she had to be turned out. And so just before she leaves, she sees her mama's ghost, and she says, "Mama, I forgive you. I understand now. It's alright." And her mom's ghost disappears, and I guess she's resting in peace. And as she gets back in the taxi to leave, you see a sign where she's gonna turn that home into a place for, I guess, wayward girls, runaways. And so her story, of course, had a happy ending. But I think of it as Southern Gothicism because of the dark storyline. And I would even argue that songs like Thunder Rolls and Wait in the Truck, which is more recent, by Hardy and featuring Lainey Wilson, I'd argue that those are Southern Gothic songs as well. The reason I say that is because Thunder Rolls by Garth Brooks is a very dark song. In the video, you see that his wife has a bruise by her eye where she was beaten up, and her daughter is just observing her sad mother from upstairs. The woman lights candles, and she's just waiting for her husband to come home. And when he does finally get home, he smells like another woman, and he starts to beat his wife again. And so, I guess the little girl makes a sound. He turns and he sees his child, and he acts like he's gonna go up there and do the same thing to this little girl. And in desperation, the mom grabs her gun. He turns around, he sees the gun, and well, things happen. So, and not to mention that the man's mistress called his house. She didn't say anything, but she did call the house, and she just hung up. Garth Brooks played the conniving, abusive husband in the video. He wanted the husband to be a real scoundrel, I think was the words that was used. He wanted him to be an absolute scoundrel to make it easier for the audience to hate him, and he was not to be sympathized with, not in the least. Like, it's to the point that when his wife did what she had to do, you were cheering for her. And at the end, you see Garth Brooks standing in the rain looking at the camera, and there were like police cars in her driveway, in the woman's driveway. So very sad. But all you could think is, well, I hope she didn't get too harsh of a sentence, because he was an asshole. And Garth Brooks played the hell out of that part. And as for Wait in the Truck, that song was introduced to me by a friend of mine, and I wasn't gonna listen to it at first because I'm not real big on country. But when she told me the theme of the video, I had to watch it. So I watched it, and then I watched a couple react to the song. It was a black couple, and the woman started crying because it brought her back to some things that happened to her. And when I watched that reaction, that was when it got me, and I cried because I managed to attach the song to things that happened to me in my past. But in that song, there's a man driving in the rain, I guess, and at least that's what's happening in the video. He's driving in the rain, and he sees this woman just walking seemingly in a daze down the street. She was beaten up, she was bruised, she was battered, and so he told her to get in the truck. And I guess she was crying and asked her what happened. I only listened to the song a couple times and haven't in quite a few months. But she tells him what happened, and she, tells him how to get to her house or her trailer or whatever. He gets there, bangs on the door, gets inside, and the woman's abusive husband or boyfriend or whoever it was inside. A fight broke out between the two men, and again, with a shotgun, things happened. This man, for a stranger, a woman he never met, did that. And he was, I guess given life in prison or whatever, I don't know. And at the end of the video, you see her driving his truck. And that, it touches your heart that he would do that for her. And it seems like she's living a better life, and she still has his truck. She goes to visit him every once in a while, and he basically saved her life, and it's hard not to be touched by that. And so, yeah, I would argue that that is a Southern Gothic song, because it's not really a happy ending for him, but it is for her. And again, the dark subject matter. So, if a story is compelling enough, even in a country song, hey, you got me. And as I said, I'm a lyricist, I'm a poet, so that right there, that wins you points as well. But I think that is why I'm a huge fan of Southern Gothicism. I'm a horror fan, even though these songs aren't horror driven. They are very dark, and the storytelling, it's like you're taken in by the story. It's like, okay, what happens next? And when the song ends, you don't want the song to end, because you want it to keep going, because you want to know what happens next with these characters that got you in a few short minutes. But guys, I'm gonna go for right now. I thank you so much for wasting time with me. I didn't think this one would take as long as it did, but I'm gonna go. Thank you for wasting time with me. I love you guys very, very much. Hope to see y'all on the next upload. Bye for now.